Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar, Accelerate Your Business with 1 Gig Connectivity. I'm Dominic Kent, the Product Marketing Manager at IP Solutions. For those of you that don't know us, we bring businesses and communications technology together to make them more accessible, more responsive, and more effective. We work primarily with large and mid-sized UK enterprises, and we're recognized leaders in the deployment of unified communications and contact center solutions. So, what are we going to cover today? I'm going to cover why connectivity matters and why it's so important. By connectivity, I mean broadband, internet, the backbone of your business. We'll run through some technical specs for you, and most importantly, I'll let you in on how to order our latest deal. And if there are any questions during the webinar, please pop them in the question box, and I'll try my best to address them at the end. So let's get started with why does connectivity matter then? According to The Independent, a quarter of UK businesses don't have reliable broadband or reliable internet connections. Now, I live on a small road in deepest, darkest Dorset with about 20 houses on, and I can't imagine that 5 of those are without a reliable broadband connection. So if you put that into business perspective, this is quite a state if we've got a quarter of the UK businesses without reliable broadband, as the numbers are far more phenomenal than just 20 on my road. And what do we mean by reliable? So I think that's quite simple. You need it to work, right? If it's not working, it's not a reliable broadband connection. The next stat is quite a talking point. If an application or a piece of software is so mission critical to business, bandwidth must be the #1 requirement. Poor internet connections can impact everything from communication tools like Skype, Skype for Business, Slack, everyday tools that we're using, or even things that use more bandwidth like creative tools such as Photoshop and InDesign for companies that use those. So your expensive investments are almost worthless. And if you can't power it, if your connectivity is not powerful enough to run these applications, your return on investment is almost impossible. The next number is actually 149 million hours, not 149 minutes of downtime. And that's in the UK alone last year. So imagine how impacted you'd be by 149 minutes downtime personally, yourself, then times that by 60 million and apply it to the businesses in the UK. That's some seriously upset employees, some seriously upset employers and customers as well. And time is money. Those 149 million hours, not 149 minutes, equate to around £12 billion worth of lost productivity. So I'm sure we can agree that connectivity is vitally important. So your business runs as fast as your internet can cope with, and we live in an age where everything is required now. We require instant gratification, instant service, instant access. In the world of personal devices, iPads, iPhones, etc., you upload a photo to Instagram and you can have 10 likes within 30 seconds. So in business, there are some obvious signs that your internet is struggling to meet demands. These include things like waiting on downloads and uploads. So if you're waiting for something on Dropbox, for example, or WeTransfer to get your documents to your colleagues, sluggish cloud access or app performance, trouble sharing or collaborating on large files, things like video files, design files, any audio files, and jitter and buffering, dropouts during video conferences. I'm sure I've experienced a few of these where you're on a conference call to somebody else and you can't hear them. They sound like they're in there. Sound like maybe they're in the bottom of a fish tank, or you only catch every other third word. So with many applications, telephony, communications, all now running in the cloud, slow bandwidth could be costing you time and could be costing you customers. If your servers are down, your customers can't use your services, they can't contact you, and more importantly, you stop generating revenue from new business, existing business, and you stop providing that quality customer service that they've come to expect. If employees are waiting on downloads or can't collaborate with one another, productivity is going to be low. Eventually, they're going to lose patience. Morale will start to decline. So now we're talking about unhappy employee experience, and unhappy employee experience equals unhappy customer experience. So now we're not just talking about employee churn, but we're talking about customer churn as well. So today I'm here to share an exclusive offer that we have available. IP Solutions has exclusive access to superfast 1 gig internet connectivity. And that's 10 times faster than the average business grade fiber connection, and we're offering it to businesses in select postcodes at a special pre-launch price. So with 1 gig connectivity, your business will benefit from, firstly, premium business grade upload and download speeds. This means your business will be able to handle large files with ease. You won't have to deal with frustrations like buffering and dropouts during video calls and wondering if they're still on the phone. Things that are generally embarrassing and unprofessional in a B2B environment. You'll benefit from software-defined connectivity to make sure your staff have the data capabilities they need and give you peace of mind that your office connectivity will scale as you grow. There's no use in having internet that isn't going to cope with your new members of staff that have just turned up. And you'll benefit from guaranteed uptime SLA, which will reduce your downtime to near zero. Ultimately, it's simple, fast, and easy to deploy, and you get all the standard advantages of being an IP Solutions customer, high quality service across the installation and beyond, and you receive a free router as standard and free installation as standard. Accelerate business success for less. So what does that mean? This means fast, scalable, and reliable connectivity to run all of your business applications on, accelerating your success for less. With 1 gig bandwidth, you'll be giving your staff the power to run your UC, your voice, your SIP, your cloud applications seamlessly. In fact, you could have 10,000 voice users, for example, operating simultaneously over the internet services without any issues. We only select the best of breed suppliers to deliver a reliable, consistent service, and you'll also benefit from our project management experience, offering ongoing support and development in a rapidly changing landscape. So now we move on to the really important stuff. So our 1 gig offer is powered by Virtual One, who own the largest wholesale-only carrier network in the UK. So with this, you'll see high capacity, low latency network as standard, and it will support up to 10 gig connectivity. Now 10 gig is not a typo, 10 gig is available, and a lot of people do ask me for support on connections for up to 10 gig if 1 gig is not suitable for their needs, if it's just not enough. 10 gig is available, but today we're mainly talking about the 1 gig connection at such a good offer. The network covers 180 towns and cities in the UK and served by 270 fiber Ethernet exchanges nationwide. And then we've got an additional 495 exchanges that deliver fiber to the cabinet for the areas that aren't supported by the fiber Ethernet. And there are 130 countries where we've got international partners that can provide the same or similar services. So you needn't worry if you've got offices in Europe, in Asia, and you're worried if you've only got your UK office with the 1 gig connectivity. We've got international partners who can help out to join those up. And when you do start to talk about multiple offices, maybe complex solutions, they fully support MPLS, full internet access, and any layer 2 services you might have on top of that. And of course, it's ready to flex with future requirements. So Virtual One's software-defined networking means faster provisioning, agile configuration, and all at a lower cost. So these 3 bubbles indicate the providers across various technologies that businesses typically use and depend upon. Each bubble's got some examples in there of the types of providers that we've already got ready-made integrations with. So if you're using SIP trunks to power your business telephony, we've got interconnects with TalkTalk, Gamma, VoiceFlex, BT, Teleware, and Colt. Perhaps you're running a hosted environment in one of these cloud providers. So we've got ready-made integrations with Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, and Google Cloud. Or perhaps you've deployed a UC system from the likes of ShoreTel, Broadsoft, one of the Broadsoft partners, Mitel, Unify, or Avaya. So our ready-made ecosystem ultimately is in place to pull together our high-performance connectivity with your existing or perhaps your future cloud investment. Finally, the really important stuff. So today we have our 1 gig connectivity at a heavily discounted price in the postcode you see here. More are coming, and if you're watching the webinar recorded, then they may have already been added. So if you're not on this map, then do check with us to see if you've been added recently. For now, we're able to provide in the majority of London, as you can see here, as well as Bristol, BS1, PR5, which is just outside of Preston, I think the Bamber Bridge area, if that's you, Central Manchester and the Trafford area as well. And then we've got WA3, which is just outside of Warrington, or basically Warrington. And finally, KT6 in Surrey. So it's just £700 per month inside London and £750 outside of London. Now, if you put that into perspective, you can compare that to a standard 100 meg line that we've touched on earlier that's capped at 100 meg. So you can't go over that 100 meg that you've already got without putting a new line in, probably because you only ordered a 100 meg bearer all those years ago, you couldn't get 1 gig. You could now be getting 10 times that, solving all of your business problems, readying your business for the new goals that are in place, for scalability as you grow in the future, and you'll only be paying a little bit more than you're currently paying. So this offer won't last forever. I suggest to take advantage of the pre-launch price of £700, which is pretty phenomenal, or even £750 outside of London, which again is pretty phenomenal. Then you do need to be fairly quick. Unless you want to be stuck in the dark ages, I suggest you take advantage of the early launch price. Contact us today. The link and all the information you'll need will be in the deck that you'll receive after the webinar. And if you're still with me at this point, then you've probably taken the first good step in recognizing that you do need to do something about your internet. So please don't hang about, because this price won't be here forever. So thank you very much for your time, everyone. I'll just pause for a moment to go over some questions that we've had in. So we do have a few that I will try my best to remedy for you. Someone's asked, how long will it take to install the fiber connection? Is the 90 days guaranteed? So 90 days is the guarantee, assuming that something out of our control doesn't happen. So if a council denies us work denies us permission to do some work that's required, or if there's a natural disaster or something like that that gets in the way, if it's out of our control, then obviously the 90 days stop. So as long as it's something within our control, then yes, it is 90 days, but it's not necessarily the full 90 days either. It can be a lot quicker. Got another question from someone who runs a contact center. I operate a contact center with around 200 agents. Do I really need as much as 1 gig connectivity? So that's an interesting one, and it's completely dependent on the entire company needs, rather than just the contact centers that are, the contact center agents that will be on the phone. So you need to look at the full company needs and the future needs of your company as well. If it is just 200 agents on the phone all day long, then no, you probably don't. But if they're using bandwidth heavy or bandwidth medium applications, then your bandwidth is going to get eaten up, certainly if they're all on the phone and using something else. And then there's things on top of that like storage and servers that you need to take into consideration. So certainly at 200 agents doing all the other things as well as being on the phone, then yeah, I'd certainly say it's worth following up. And we've got one final question around video calls. My staff frequently complain about video conference calls freezing and dropping out. Would 1 gig eliminate these problems? So another interesting one. So whilst we can't guarantee it will eliminate the problems, what we could say is if the connectivity is causing the problem in the first place and not something else in your IT setup perhaps, then yes, 1 gig would be sufficient, assuming you're not running an extreme video conference with thousands and thousands of people. That there simply are other tools that are better suited for that, something like a broadcast or a GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar type thing. So if that's all the questions, I'll wrap up there. And again, just like to stress that the offer isn't around forever. So unless you do want to get stuck in the dark ages and not move forward and not scale as you grow, then I do stress that you take advantage of our offer and contact us today.